All right, crew, welcome back into the Agency Therapy Podcast. I have a very special guest. He flew all the way to Nashville to be on the podcast. I'm just kidding. He didn't fly in. He's here for the Agency Founders event this weekend. Marius, what's up, brother? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
First, this is one of the best moments. I'm actually able to take someone's podcast virginity away. This is your first podcast ever.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
First one.
Are you feeling nervous?
A bit.
A bit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll keep it low key, you know?
Yeah.
But if you guys don't know Marius has in a very short career, like you're a super young dude, but you've worked with some of the biggest companies in the world. People like Hyros, that's kind of where you got your start, right?
Just
Hyros. What were you doing with Hyros when you kind of started like media buying and how did you get even introduced into Hyros?
Right. So I was running ads for super small businesses and then that wasn't going really well. Mm-hmm. Was like 18, wasn't able to close a lot of clients. So what I did, because I was looking at Alex Beck, I was like, oh, he's the person I want to be like. So I tried to apply to work at Hyros, but in general to multiple SaaS companies. And it just so happened like I got lucky that I was hired by them. And I was hired at the lowest position. I was just doing customer support. And then pretty much they saw that I know how to do ads. So I understood super fast the platform, but how to use it too. So by the time I left Hyros, I was the head of analyst. And what I was doing then, I was helping all the big clients. So for example, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, when they were coming in, they needed like one-on-one setups because we needed testimonials. So they needed to be able to use Hyros and like show, hey, it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
So I was working with their team one-on-one. I also had access to their ad accounts. So for example, Grant Cardone team was coming in. I was having access to the ad account, monitoring, seeing what they were doing. Same time, pretty much understood techniques, how they're testing, how they're scaling accounts, how they take like a brand new account from 0 to 10K, like a matter of a couple of days. So
you were like on the ground floor of, Hyros and really in its, from its infancy to, what the monster it is today. From there, you got poached by our friend Eddie. And you,
shout out Eddie.
Shout out Eddie Malouf. But you kind of moved into more of like the e-commerce side. What drew you over from like doing something more product focused where it's like, hey, we have a product, it's Hyros, is the one thing we're going to be working on. But what drew you into working for an agency and becoming a media buyer? And I don't know your position there. Were you doing like just like e-commerce, for the brand's media buying? So
it wasn't e-com. It was for the info product. So basically the whole thesis of Eddie asking me to come on board is that they were building the info pod at the time. So they just had one whale client, which was Pace.
Pace Morby.
Yeah. So the whole idea was, hey, we have this client. We're crushing it for him. We need someone that's good at running the ads, knows the data. Because the biggest problem with those clients was showing them how much money you made them. So like you can have the percentages. So because Hyros was my bread and butter, it's like, come, you'll do the media buying and you also do that. Like, you'll be like our Hyros person.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially being able to come in, attribute revenue to
pretty much
to the ads that you guys were running.
Yeah.
Sweet. So doing that and building out like Pace Morby stuff, you guys obviously grew that department. Like what other types of brands were you working with at that time?
10X Health, The Muscle, Ryan Pineda, Tom Cruise, not the actor, Tom Cruise, the Section A guy, if you know him. Pretty much Eric Spafford, pretty much that, like Iman Ghazi, those type of just big personal brands.
Yeah, and all in the info product space. Like what
info product. Yeah.
What kind of drew you into info? Is that just like Eddie was like, hey, like I have this info division. Did you know info going into Hyros, or was it just something that you were seeing like a lot of users of Hyros were using?
That was pretty much my first client, like first actual proper client was a fitness coach from like Eastern Europe. She was like one of the biggest fitness coaches in the space back there. I run ads for her. I was like, oh, it's cool to run ads. Like I know how to run ads for products, like small challenges, those type of info products. When I moved at Hyros, I tried running ads for e-com. And I did run a couple for e-com clients. I did run a couple of info products. Info is easier. Yeah. So for everyone that runs e-com, much respect. I hate that. It's just way more work.
Yeah.
Way less strategy from the media buying side. Like you go talk with the brand owner. It pretty much is an exchange. They give you creatives, plug them in. A lot of work with those creatives, a lot of feedback. On the info side, it's not as much the work with, you work out with the creatives, with the angles. It's also a lot of strategy. A lot of optimization on the back end. So I would say it's a very different game.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's more copy driven? Like you're having to change a lot of like landing page, copy and design and things like that?
and the way you do it, like all of the optimization on the back end, all the feedback that you give to Facebook. Like I would say one of the reasons I was able to close a lot of clients is because a lot of media buyers that do info, they're very weak on the side of how they send the data back. They have like almost no clue how to optimize for like a proper funnel.
What are some of the key things that you see people making mistakes on? Like as far as like, hey, they set up their funnel. What are some things that you come in as like, hey, like we know we need to optimize these three things immediately?
Well, it can start from like the most simple mistakes. Let's say you have a VSL funnel, right? Like probably 90% of people will optimize for a lead. And they're like, oh man, like we're getting so many leads, but traffic is so trash. Like we cannot close any of them.
Yeah.
As simple as switching to the highest event in the funnel, not the purchase, like second highest, which would be like a scheduled event, a qualified scheduled event.
Okay, so like a book call essentially.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like those are like the simplest mistakes. Then when it gets more advanced, let's say when you spend from a couple thousand a day on ads, you can get a decent amount of calls in. And the biggest thing is that none of those people, or like very small percentage, actually track call quality. So there is no feedback, marketing, sales team, which calls are good, which calls are bad. Because it's very hard to just optimize on purchase because sales cycle is long. Like I would assume even for your type of business, like your sales cycle can be...
They can be very long.
Yeah,
I mean,
months.
Months sometimes. You know, we do get our, occasional 1-2 call close, but yeah, like, people, when it comes to consulting on their business, they do take some time with it. So, okay. So as far as like optimizing the funnel a little bit more in depth, what are some of those like real in depth optimizations, like things that people don't typically think about?
Well, you have a lot of softwares or like a lot of possibilities on how you send all the data back into, let's say, Facebook. Softwares, like I don't want to endorse anyone, but there are like, let's say Dr. UTM, let's say that company, pop-up program that I was telling you about, they spend about 100K a day. One of the main things they did, they build their own like data lake system and they take all the data about the people they want more of and they send that back into Facebook, back into Google, which in turn reduces like crazy the CPA. You're like pretty much running ads on steroids. It just takes like a lot of tech side to be able to build those systems.
Yeah. So essentially they're taking the data from their sales team and saying like, hey, these are the most qualified calls. These were the best calls we took. These are the ones that closed the fastest. They feed that data back into Facebook.
Yeah. Also on the purchase side too.
Okay. On the purchase side.
Because imagine in your funnel, right? You have, let's say it takes a couple of months for you to close a deal. In a normal case, there will be no way for you to give feedback back to Facebook while closed. But when you build all those systems, you can send all the data and you have custom profiles now on your purchasers. Because for B2B, I would say it's even more important. For agency owners, when they need to, let's say, target e-com brands, right? Like I run ads for e-com brands. When you are able to like show Facebook clearly which are the people that actually closed, your ads get better. Customer call can be more expensive, but you can get 5 calls. You'll probably close more on those 5 than 100 on normal like lead call campaign.
Wow. Do you think the lead amount drops because of that? And it's like, it's just more qualified people coming through.
Yeah.
Like, is that typically what you're seeing on your side?
So you have customer, like let's say on all the standard events that Facebook has, they have customer behavior. Like what usually does a lead behave like, what a call behaves like, what a purchase behaves like. So there are people that just opt in into stuff. The more you optimize for a lead, you'll just get opt-ins. No matter that, like they do not give a damn about the quality. But let's say when you optimize for a purchase, there are very few people that will buy in the first place. That's why your cost skyrockets. But at least it goes after those people. And we have clients that spend 30K a day. They would rather get 10 calls because we know those 10 calls close.
Sure.
Yeah. Compared to like 100.
So they're very high intent. Do you find those people have been in the funnel for like very long? Like, have they gone through trainings, resources, and they've just been there for a while and it's like a retargeting ad that gets them, or is it, a new ad creative that you're putting in front of them that finally gets them across the line? Like what do you see on that side typically?
You would usually see that sales cycle, and that's referring both to B2B, let's say people that run ads like for the agency, or anyone that has a very high ticket B2C offer. you would see that they opted in your funnel probably like 3 or 4 times before they buy anything, especially if it's something that's 5-6K and above. So like in Hyros, you can see leads and new leads. We have clients for which the new leads ratio is about like 30%. So a lot of the people are just re-opting in, coming back from a long time ago, and then buying.
And is that from like new ad creatives? Is that from retargeting? It's like they're seeing a brand new ad from that business.
That's why we just cycle a lot of angles.
How much creative are you typically testing at a time? I know it's probably a pretty loaded question. It can be pretty drastic, but from your perspective, like, you know, if I was starting a new campaign, like how many creatives should we be running? Because like, you know, we got Nate sitting back here. He helps me create all my advertisements and stuff. And like we try to create, you know, 2 new fresh ads a week where it's like, cool, this is a new angle, or hey, this has a new hook to it. I'm in a different setting. I'm wearing a different t-shirt, whatever it is. Like from your side, like what are some of those best practices when you're making creative?
How much ad spend you're doing?
Very low, very low. I would say $2,000 a month currently.
2 a month. Okay. So almost 100 a day. Probably 2 a week. I would say it's a good volume.
Good volume.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that I would say is worth to keep in mind, if you can, all the time you do new ads, try to change something in your setting. So let's say if you would have 10 ads, but all of them will be pretty much with that camera and it will be that same exact angle. Yes, you change the shirt, but I have a very high level rep at Facebook and they showed us the internal dashboard. Facebook recognizes if the main concept of the video is pretty much the same. So if you're saying, so
interesting.
We saw that on Jeremy Miner's account. So even though we do about 20 ads a week because we're spending about 15K a day. So even though a lot of the ads said different things, but they were in the same setting and they were fatiguing way faster than an ad that might be worse. Like you would look at this and like, this ad will not work. It had better CPAs just because it was in different settings.
Interesting.
So that matters a lot. But 2 a week for your budget, like that's pretty much where you want to be.
Okay, cool. So with those optimizations, like take me through, what are some of the creative optimizations that you guys have made that have really helped, you know, pull people across the line? Like, are there specific creatives that are working extremely well right now? Like what's kind of working in the space?
So if you would do just normal, like for an agency, we pretty much found a cheat code on like how to acquire clients with super simple ads. That's what I'm running too. And it's basically just a screenshot. It can be maybe a dashboard. Let's say if I'm targeting e-com brand owners, it can be a dashboard of your Shopify, like of a Shopify store, showing big numbers and then calling out. Let's say I'm selling SEO. So try to give all your money or your savings to Zuckerberg. Then look out for a solution that's long term. We can help people, give a free audit, DM us the word, or send them to the funnel, apply to see if you can work with us. Probably, I'm running myself DM ads. It's working pretty well. A lot of the agencies that I'm running ads for, it's all on an application funnel. And you can book pretty much $150 cost per booked call for qualified brand owners.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
With super simple ads, it's just a screenshot and we test a lot of variations of the text. And then the other side, we test like complicated video ads, changing angles, new hooks. Doesn't work as well. Yeah.
Got it. So like some of the more simple stuff is what's really effective right now.
For example, in your case, you're running a lot of video ads.
Yeah,
right? Like
correct.
most of the stuff you're running.
Most of it's video ads. Yep.
So I'm pretty much sure I'm willing to bet if you'd add some like simple static ads, either way you will go to retarget a lot of the people. That's just the nature of static ads. They have usually like a higher frequency. I can bet that will pretty much improve all of your results across the account.
Interesting. All right. Take notes. Static ads. We got it. All right. Sweet. I love that, dude. Super helpful. So transitioning from, Eddie for media, bad marketing into your own thing. You're running your own boutique agency, helping brand owners, helping info products. That's kind of the main niche that you're in right now, correct?
Yep.
How's it going? What are you focused on kind of going into this new year? Like we're January 8th, so 2025 is brand new and fresh.
Right.
How's the agency running currently? And like what's kind of the big goals for this year?
Right. So the moment I left bad marketing, I was already running a couple of big clients on the side. So I didn't start from 0. I already had. I was at probably like 15K a month, 20K a month. Pretty much 4x since then. More actually. I'm not that good at math. I am, but more than 4x since that was June. So going pretty strong. Main thing for, I would say, 2024 was, oh shit, how do I find clients? Realize that, oh, it's not that hard. And it's a lot of, it's like a snowball effect with all of the clients we have right now. We're getting referrals left and right. So, and also just going meet up clients, they give you other clients. We have their ads running right now, which pretty much destroy the belief that, oh, it will be very hard to find clients or very hard to expand. So what we're focusing on right now is just trying to find more people that want to join the mission.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome, dude. I love it. So you're expanding team a little bit as well. You brought on a media buyer. And this is what I love is that it's like, I feel like you're building this agency in a really great way, where it's like you have very low overhead, very little OpEx to the business currently. What do you kind of contribute that to, as far as like being able to build a business that's, doing at least, 6 figures a month, close to 6 figures a month, and kind of almost being a solo operation or just having, 1-2 staff on board?
Hard. I'll probably a couple of things. One, we're really good, generally good. We take accounts from companies. One of the things that we started doing this year, like end of this year, 2024, was we started going after a lot of big companies, because a lot of those companies, they look for redundancy. So most likely they already have someone that's running their ads. They already have someone that's doing their copy, but they get to a level where they do not want to risk. So let's say their current media buyer like decides to leave. They're like, oh, what happens with our 100K a day budget? So what a lot of those companies are looking for redundancy. So what we started offering is like, hey, I know you run your ads in a specific way. Maybe we can come in as a split test. And maybe you don't even pay us for the first month, or like you pay us a very low retainer just so you can test run us. But we're pretty sure we can beat your control. That's been one of like the strategies that's been working the best recently, because we'll be able to land clients that spend from 100K to a couple of million a month. Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is like what people don't realize is like the larger companies, they do like to hedge their bets. This is something that we noticed with like some of the e-com brands that we used to work with, that, there are multiple media buyers in the ad accounts. Like that's a very real possibility, especially if they're spending, 6 figures a month on paid advertisement.
Right.
So it's like they need to be able to diversify who they're running with, different strategies, and essentially like the best horse wins type of thing. So, just because there's a brand that has, I love this strategy, by the way. There's a brand that has, media buying team already in lock, or they have an internal team, doesn't mean that they're not thinking about, hey, like, how do we diversify our ad spend? And like, maybe there's more juice worth the squeeze if we just utilize someone else and see what we can do. Because here's the thing is like, if you're able to make them more money and you feel confident in doing that, and you're able to prove it out, they're going to run with you. Right. And it's 100%. Like, you have to be confident in that. But at the same time, some people, they just don't know that they can come in and do that. Right. Like they're just unaware. They're ignorant to the fact that they can come in and be a second pair of eyes on an ad account. And sometimes you're a third, fourth pair of eyes, know? It's like, there's accounts that big. It's like, you can't have one media buyer run, a single account spending, millions of dollars,
right.
It's tough.
Also one thing, that I realized at the event in London, what Corey was saying is like, hey, how many times you actually follow up with your prospects? He's like, yeah, they have someone that running the ads right now, but
3 months from now.
3 months from now.
Yeah, we all know churn is a very real thing in the agency space. Like
that happened also a lot. Like Corey also asked, like, how many of you like have a proper pipeline of clients? Like, oh, I do not have, but probably it's 10, 20 people. Like a week from the event, went home, like had a couple hundred leads.
Yeah.
Followed up with a couple of them, closed that same week for clients.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So follow up with the deals you have, try to go to those. higher level clients because most likely they're looking for someone.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing is like most people go into like the smaller businesses, and it's like,
Right.
you know, the ones that can't spend as much or can't afford higher retainers. It's like, well, if, you know, we're playing the game on hard mode already. It's like, it's hard to get a small client. It's hard to get a big client. It's like, we might as well go hunt big clients, because once you get that first one, it's way easier to get the second one and the third one. Cause you know, you've worked with some of the biggest brands, you know, in our industry. And now it's way easier. Like, yeah, like I work with all of these guys. They use me. Why wouldn't you as well?
Yeah.
You know, talk to me about like building out your like social proof and stuff. Like with these bigger brands, are you able to utilize, you know, their case studies and things like that? Obviously you've named a few brands, but is there anyone that has like, hey, like you can't talk about us?
There is. There are a couple of them that you're like under very strict NDAs. But what I've done is the NDAs do not include like me not mentioning I'm running their ads. I'm just not allowed to show what we're doing for them. So at least I can use the name.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main reasons why I've been able to close a lot of clients is because I've been decently good at exploiting the names I'm working with. So like I never shy away from telling, hey, I'm working with this guy, run ads for this guy.
Yep.
I'm also, let's say if I hop on a call with someone, I'm very strategic about who I'm mentioning, because I can mention, let's say, a couple dozen people. I go check who they're following. Like, okay, cool, those 5 people. Cool.
Yeah.
Like I just list those 5, and they're like, oh, no way, like I know all 5 of them. Like that's such a coincidence. I love that. So out of them, and you don't really want to also show out of the accounts. Like probably you, like max you can, there's like, you can show that you're running those accounts. You don't want to walk them through. Because for example, if I'm a big client, it's like, oh, this guy just showed Brian Cardone's account from beginning to end. Like I don't want that to happen with me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want someone to, like whenever he's closing another client, him to show everything. So I'm making that frame, my opinion, builds a lot of trust. Like, oh, he's showing that he's working with them, but not really showing what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always a fine line, right? It's like you can show them a little bit, but you can't really show them how the sausage is made, right?
Like maybe you show them just a bit.
Just a bit, just a little bit of skin, you know, some of the good stuff. Awesome, dude. I guess like, what does the future look like for you? I know, you know, boutique is kind of the style you're running towards right now. Do you think it'll stay boutique, or do you think you're going to kind of grow a big agency at some point?
Well, 2025 plan 100% stay boutique. By the way I was planning it, it will probably imply that we'll hire 2 or 3 more people, probably 2 more media buyers, 1 more copywriter, because the current structure we have, 1 copywriter can sustain 2 media buyers very well on producing ad scripts, ad copy with all of their clients. So I'm thinking I do not want to overwork really the media buyers I have, because the clients are needy in a way, but because we're running a lot of ad spend. So
of course.
Whole plan is pretty much to build. The structure we have right now is 1 pod is a media buyer, pretty much. So trying to be 2 more pods would imply 2 more media buyers and 1 single copywriter.
Okay. So gonna have to hire some people.
Yes.
How are you hiring right now? Like, are you just putting out applications? Are you trying to poach people? Kind of taking a outbound approach to it? What does that look like?
So I would say probably the approach I've done so far is what most people do not encourage, because I trained from zero. Pretty much I went after the type of person I want to work with me more than, like he's so skilled. Because first person I trained, it took me 3 months to get him to like a very good level. Second person took me a month. A month to the moment where he can handle accounts that spend more than 10K a day. Okay.
So essentially you're looking for people that have kind of a blank slate. They don't have bad habits built, and they don't have a methodology already. So you're just taking people based off of their personality and that they're a go-getter, and training them into a great media buyer.
And that they have very good communication skills. That became super clear. As long as the media buyer can also become the person that handles the client questions, it's a super scalable model.
Okay, so they have to be able to talk with the client and actually do the strategy and the tactical side of media buying. Outside of like the media buyer, do you have any other positions in the company? Like, you know, some people talk about client success teams. They talk about, you know, account managers. You know, like what, like you talked about your pod structure. Is a pod structure just like, hey, we have 1 media buyer and that's our pod? What does that kind of look like for you guys?
So right now, And we have, except for the media buyers, we have the copywriter. So they just work together on providing ad scripts and ad copy. And right now, as an, not necessarily as an, the media buyer has to be pretty much an account manager too. But we try to like think of ways on how we would include that. And it doesn't really make sense, at least for the level we are at, because we have a lot of checking calls with the client. So we do see that the media buyer, like with the work volume that we have, he manages to do the project management, account management, like on the communication side, and then like running the ads. So at least in the nearby future, we're not planning to hire anyone else.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What do you think your capacity is? Like, are you trying to double the business? Like, do you think you'll bring on a certain amount of clients?
Right.
Where do you think the limit is for you guys?
This year, that's a plan. Like we're trying to double the business.
Okay, cool.
By end of year, like not right now.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah.
By the end of the year. How many pods do you think you're gonna have in place to do that?
So right now we're in 2 pods. I'm thinking 4 pods by end of year.
Okay, cool.
But like fully scaled, where all of them at full capacity.
Yeah.
That's the goal for the year.
Yeah, awesome, man. Are you planning on doing like any content? Like, are you doing any content currently?
So the reason I'm here is because one of the goals for the year was to do 10 YouTube videos.
Okay.
So I can consider this as the first one.
First one, let's go. Knocking it out.
Yes, sir. So first one to do 10 YouTube videos. Then second one was just going harder on ads. So it's kind of funny for a media buying agency not run any ads for them. So I decided to like lean more into that. Not be scared to spend money, burn some money.
Sure.
So those are the 2 things. Yes, planning to build a kind of a personal brand that's super niched, just on for media buy, for high level media buying, pretty much. Second, try to post on like building a specific IG brand as well.
Do you think that that's going to be geared more towards your ability to like get more brands, or do you think that's going to be like, hey, like I'm trying to attract good talent into my ecosystem, or maybe a mix of both?
Wasn't thinking in the beginning about the talent side. Was thinking more about the potential client side. Just because I was looking at some other guys that build something else, maybe even in the copywriting space or in the e-com space, right? And they were having super niche brands. But when you look at the numbers, like 100 views, but then 100K.
Yeah.
So like from that kind of perspective.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. What about LinkedIn? Are you looking at LinkedIn at all?
So I was thinking about it. Was talking with a lot of people, especially after the event. Decided to not try to do all of them at the same time.
Sure.
So decided to do YouTube, try to build the IG account in a specific way that's very niche. So probably we're gonna stick with IG and
so
YouTube
more of like long form YouTube,
Pretty much.
Instagram short form, chopping up some of the stuff that you're doing. Now you said 10 videos. Like why? Like are these 10 videos gonna be like super in depth? Like what style of videos are you going for?
So a very close friend of mine that he already started like his own personal brand in the e-com space towards e-com brand owners. Because he has a coaching community. So he has a style
It's
that's
not
very...
Nick, is it?
No, maybe not. You ever heard of Mark Stader?
No, I haven't.
You ever heard of Alex Fedotov?
Alex, yes. I've heard of Alex.
Alex Fedotov. Well, his partner, Mark.
I never knew how to say his last name, but...
Yeah, he's Ukrainian, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, his partner, Mark, started building like a separate personal brand that sustains the main brand, Alex's brand. So e-commerce scaling secrets, pretty much. And very unconventional content, I would say, is him on the right, on the left side of the screen, sharing the screen, showing the strategies that they are doing, very high level stuff. And they've been attracting they've been getting tens of thousands of views on very high level stuff. Quality of the people that are coming in from those videos also very high level. So I'm pretty much planning to mimic that same type of content.
Nice.
Like all the people that understand the content, like they have to be doing already some numbers.
Yeah.
It's not
it has to be super
friendly.
It's super in depth. It's not beginner friendly, essentially. Yeah, that's great, man. Cool, dude. Well, real quick, you're starting a YouTube channel. Yep. Where can people find you on YouTube?
Well, right now, it's Marius builds brands. Sorry, Marius run ads, but without any followers. So in 2 weeks, if you look out for Marius runs ads, you'll probably see the first video.
There we go. All right. So make sure you guys go subscribe to his YouTube channel and then Instagram. Where can people find you?
Marius runs ads too.
Okay. Marius runs ads. Okay. So those are the 2 places. Go follow him. If you guys have a brand, if you guys are looking for more information, in-depth content on building brands, on, running ads, things like that, go follow Marius over there. Any last shouts, dude? What, anything that you want to shout out right now?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Good stuff, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. You guys, thanks so much for listening to the pod today. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Thank you.